Here we are again. I can't keep up with it anymore. I just swept all this off this morning, and I had a nice clean sidewalk, and now we have snow squalls again, and tonight it's going to get down to 0 degrees here. That's freaking cold. And I'm going through the wood. Of course, I still got the stack of wood over on the other side of the barn so that I can use, so I'm not worried about it right now. And if I have to, I'll just get the chainsaw out and start cutting some more. There's plenty of stuff down along the driveway. There's, that have fallen over, leaners that I can cut up easily and, bring right up here. This is reason number 52 why I don't like winter, because the wood burner makes a mess. There's always a mess to clean up. What's happening, cats? Did you ever have one of those brainstorm ideas that turned out to be a bomb? Well, I got one I'm going to share with you today. I was probably back in my early to mid 20s. Just a kid back then. That was a long time ago. One of my best friends and I were sitting around having a couple beers. Nothing out of hand, And we had been invited to a party. The party, though, was a couple 100 miles away. So, I says, hey, what about that party? You want to go check out that party? My buddy, of course, being cordial, says, yeah, sure. Let's go. I says, all right, well, let's take the bikes. He says, all right, we'll take the bikes. So we saddled up on our motorcycles and took off, headed south. We jumped on the highway, and I think we rode for about an hour. And at which point we thought, well, we better stop and fuel up. So we got off at this exit. And the exit that we got off on was one of those interchanges where there was like 3 highways all coming together in the same place. Well, I remember we got fueled up, and then there was a McDonald's there. We stopped at a McDonald's and got a hamburger or something, just something quick. And we got back on the bikes and we took off. Well, we'd been riding for about an hour, and it just seemed like we were riding into the wilderness, like there was nothing. And so I waved him, and we pulled off on the side of the road, and I said, you know what? I think we took the wrong highway. Well, sure enough, we turned around, we headed back a couple miles, and we saw the sign, and sure enough, we were on the wrong highway. Yeah, just a really dumb mistake, but we weren't paying attention. We thought we were getting right back on the same road we got off of, but wrong. We were heading west instead of south where we wanted to go. So we had an hour ride to get back to where we were and pick up the highway to where we were going. So we finally get to this party, but by the time we arrived there, it's like 1:30 in the morning. We knock on the door, and the one guy answers the door, and it's all dark in there, and we walk in. We said, aren't you having a party? He says, well, yeah, but, everybody crashed out about an hour ago. And there's a guy laying on the couch sleeping, and he says there's another guy in the back room there, and another guy upstairs. I says, oh boy. He says, well, I'll tell you what, since you rode this far, I guess I can have another beer with you. So we sat there, and he never turned the lights on. It was real dark in there. And he got a beer out. He didn't want to wake everybody else up, I guess, but they were passed out anyway. So he gave us each a beer, and we sat there and sipped on a beer for a little while. And when that was done, we said, well, guess we might as well head home. So we turned around, got on the bikes, and had a couple hours ride to get back home. By the time we got home, it was wee hours in the morning. Almost time for breakfast. But boy, was that a flop, sometimes when you're a kid, you don't think. You just do. You just act. If it sounds like a good idea, you just go with it. And my buddy, he was always good to, yeah, sure, whatever you want, let's do it. Let's go for it, And now, so many years later, whenever I see him and I bring up that story, we can't help but smile and laugh because it's like, oh my gosh, what a bunch of boneheads. Now, the temperature's up to 12 degrees now. It's cold. There's a little breeze, a little wind chill. The other day I picked up some groceries and I was coming home, and I like to pull up here close to the, where I can load the groceries, and then I take the truck back, park it in the garage. So I'm backing up here, and this is all covered with snow, so I couldn't see where the driveway was. And I'm backing up, and I backed up right into the tree. Luckily, I wasn't going very fast, and it was just like a clunk, and I thought, what the heck? Yeah, in this kind of weather around here, there's so much salt spray, so the backup camera is pretty much rendered useless because it's all caked up with white salt. And then, I was looking in my one mirror to figure out where the sidewalk was to get up next to it, and I was over too far. Never looked in my passenger mirror, and clunk. Now, luckily, I looked over the truck and there's not even a scratch. I think I just hit the bumper, and the bumper has like a rubber edge on it there, and it just bumped the tree, and it didn't even do anything. I couldn't even see a mark on it where it hit the tree. So I'm getting like senile, I think. I mean, in all the years that I've had this truck, well, it's since 2018 when I bought it brand new, knock on wood, I haven't even put a scratch on it yet, so I like to keep it that way. And this is the first time since then, 8 years I think it's been, that I've even ever hit something with it, so that has me a little concerned. Have you ever had kipper snacks? I don't think I ever have, but I thought I would try them today. I do like sardines. They make a good snack, So I'm not opposed to eating sardines, but I've never had these before. So I'm going to open these up and see exactly. Well, that's handy. That's sharp. Don't want to cut my hand. Splatter fish juice all over everything, and then it'll smell really nice in here. Ah, you gotta be kidding me. Boy, I sure know how to make a mess. Alright, got it off. Oh no, they smell a little fishy to me. I don't know that I like real fishy. Not bad, kind of a smoked flavor, like a smoked fish. Not strong like I thought it would be. Good. Yeah, I would get those again. It's actually pieces of fish. You get sardines, it's got the skin on and everything. This doesn't. Not much different than tuna.